to another YouTube video. This is the very last video of the year, and I wanted to basically go over these past 12 months and come up with like a top, 5 lessons that I learned, because let me tell you, 2022, God, it was just such a difficult year for me. And however, a lot of very valuable lessons that I don't think I would have learned if I didn't go through what I went through in 2022. And so at the end of the day, I'm very thankful that 2022 happened. And we are December 30th, just a few days left to the new year. And I thought this was just like a very important video for me to make. Not only to share my lessons with you, but also because I love rewatching these videos of myself many years later. And I just like to see, and remind myself of like everything that I went through. And 2022, before we get into it, by the way, I have all my little notes here. I love this new iPad. Let me just bring you back to 2022 real quick from like the beginning. So I had Sky in 2021, so started off the year, Sky was 5 months old, I had just gone back to work. I knew that in a few months I was going to move somewhere. I didn't know where, but I knew that I was going to be accepting an international transfer. And so, I started off the year with just a lot of excitement, knowing that there was going to be a lot of unknowns this year, because I didn't know where we were moving. I knew that we were going to sell our house. I knew that there was a lot of changes coming our way, but I didn't know how big these changes were going to be, and also just how hard a lot of these challenges were going to be. And so I remember starting off 2022 just like excited for the unknown, but a little bit of, fear of like, gosh, like I don't know, like what's gonna happen this year. I know I'm gonna be leaving Houston. I know I'm gonna be leaving my network and like my friends and everything that I've ever known. And so there was a lot of fear coming into it. And now that I'm on the other end and I know what 2022 was all about and where I moved, I'm just happy that I'm like on the other side of the tunnel now. And it was a very difficult journey through that tunnel, but I'm glad that I'm on the other side now. I'm so much stronger. I am such a more just well-rounded person. I've grown so much that I'm just grateful for it. Mind you, while I was going through the tunnel, it sucked. There was a lot of tears, a lot of frustrations, a lot of very difficult conversations, a lot of like soul searching, and just like trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Like, what am I doing? I was just kind of like navigating through life, figuring out like, where am I going? Like, this is not what I want to do. This is definitely, there was a lot of learnings on like what I don't want. So I think that's just as important as finding what you do want, is when you find what you don't want. I think it's super powerful. And I definitely found a lot of things this year that of like, you know what, this is something that I thought that I wanted, but I actually don't. And so there was just a lot of, again, lessons. 2022 was a year of lessons for me. And so I wrote them down, but before, just so that you have a quick snapshot of 2022, in March, we found out that we were moving to Mexico. At first, it was kind of very exciting because it wasn't so far away. It wasn't like, hey, you're moving to, Middle East, you're moving to Europe. Like it was, hey, Mexico is pretty doable in terms of just like not feeling like it was gonna be very far from Houston. And we were just excited to do it. And so we sold our house. Luckily, we sold at a like extremely good time. It was like a market bubble when it comes to like housing in Houston. So we sold at a very good time. We moved, and just from the moment that we landed, it was, God, just like if you followed me on social media and you followed my stories, it was just thing going wrong after thing after thing after challenge after challenge. From the moment that we left Houston, it felt like I just walked into a nightmare of just everything testing my core of difficult situations, everything going unexpectedly, not according to plan. It was just God, just like thinking about those first few weeks leading up to us arriving, it was just horrible. And not to mention, we have 3 huge dogs, a baby, we had 9 pieces of luggage, and just my husband and I moving by ourselves. Luckily, about 2 weeks into it, my mom moved from Canada to help us out. And that was so much help, because I don't know how I would have handled like the motherhood part, and then me having like my own meltdowns in my own life and career. And so it was just a huge blessing having her there. Tim had a lot going on. He had just opened his first office in Montreal, and so he was flying between Mexico to Montreal, which is actually it's a far commute. It's a full 12 hours of getting from one place to the other. And so there was a lot of going on on his end as well. But luckily, we made it as a family. I really do think it's made us as a family so much stronger, because we just went through hell and back, I would say, for many weeks, that now looking back, I'm just like, I just want to tap myself on the shoulder and be like, God, I can't believe you did it, but you did it. And so, yeah, that's kind of what it was. We moved, everything just like didn't go according to plan, like I said. And I've had to grow a lot professionally and in my career, because it was just like a different culture. It was a completely different team. It was also in a big office where there's like hundreds of employees, and I had never been to an office that big. I mean, when I was in Houston for the last 3-4 years because of COVID, and even just like the nature of my job in sales, I was never in an office. And so I was very kind of like alone on my own with my team, very small team, and with my customers. And this was the first time that I was like in a setting that felt like school, like high school all over again, just like so many people. And it was challenging for me, because I had never been in this kind of environment, plus the culture, plus the language barrier, plus a new role that I wasn't fond of, just so many things coming at me. And I think I came in just wanting to do really well, because I was used to being really good in what I did before. I was used to being praised for how good I was and what I was doing. I was in a really profitable and like good business that was growing year on year. And so when I came here, I felt the pressure of like needing to perform, needing to also have a name for myself here, needing to like prove myself to other people. And the moment that I would see that someone like maybe didn't necessarily like me or thought less of me, I felt like I had to prove myself, or I had to get this person to like me and to buy in that I am good. And so it was really weird, because I think I just struggled a lot with like wanting to be liked, which is not something that I usually do. I'm usually like, I don't care. But this was like, I came with so much stress on performing, so that like to prove to people that I was as good as they said that I was, when I was coming from a different area and no one knowing me. I felt like I had to kind of rebuild myself all over again. And so that was a disaster from the beginning of just like, I think I should have just like chilled and like, it's okay, like, let me get the hang of this. I got this. This is all new for me. Of course, I'm not going to be, on like this highlight and like doing amazing things. Like, I just got here, but I was putting so much pressure on myself to perform, to be the best, to, so that didn't go my way, because I was just like stressing out myself too much. And I started to become just very unhappy in like my day-to-day and what I was doing. And so that's what a big portion of 2022 was just stressing myself out, and then just like not being happy. Like I for once in many years just felt like I hit rock bottom, in the sense that I just wasn't happy. Like I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And luckily, like my family life and like my life outside of just my day-to-day was good. My husband and I were super happy this year. We have a beautiful baby. My mom was here. I have great friends. Flip and Barrel was doing amazing. We did so many great things. I mean, like everything outside of like my day-to-day and just like my own career was going very well. And so I was very happy externally, but when it came to like who I was as an individual in my career, it was for once just like going downhill. It was just not a good year for me. And I think just reflecting back, there are a lot of things that I learned this year that I'm glad that I took this big leap of faith of leaving Houston, because I learned so much from just leaving my little North America bubble, and that's one of the lessons that I have on here. So if you are watching from the US or from Canada, like, consider yourself very, very lucky. The fact that you were born in America, like, you are already better off than most people. Mug. It's not mug, but my glass. Okay, so the number one lesson that I learned this year was win in silence. What I mean by that is keep things to yourself. Keep your goals to yourself. Keep your financials to yourself. Keep what you want to go after to yourself. Like, it's okay to share with very, very few people, but don't tell others what you're going through. Don't tell others what your next steps are. Don't share so much of your life to other people. Why? It's unfortunate, but most people don't want you to succeed. And that was a very difficult lesson that I learned this year, is most people don't want you to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. I help people get raises, I help people get promotions, I help people get a job. I mean, I want other people to succeed, because that's never made me feel like I'm not successful. If you succeed, that's great, I'm happy for you. It doesn't dim my light. But most people don't think like that. Most people are threatened by you. Most people see you as a threat. Most people are jealous. Most people will use anything that you say to bring you down. So going into 2023, I'm going to be extremely quiet, because I learned that the hard way this year. So win in silence. Next is take a leap of faith once in a while. Take a big risk. Take a big challenge. Look at what I did. I moved into the unknown, into just like a completely different world, and it was painful. I'm not saying like taking challenges and taking big leaps of faith automatically mean reward. No, but if I wouldn't have taken this big leap, I wouldn't have learned all of these things, and now I'm so much better off. Like, I had to go through dirt, eat crap, and like, I'm better off now. And so I really encourage you in 2023 to do that thing that scares you. Take that big leap of faith. Quit that job. Leave that relationship. Move. Like, go start that business. Like, life is so short. Go and try things out, because worst case, you go back. If things don't work out, I go back. If you start a business and you quit your job and it didn't work out, guess what? You can go back. Like just do some calculated risks, but at the end of the day, it's taking that challenge is so worth it. Next, growth only happens when you're going through very painful situations. Looking back at 2022, like I said, it was just like such a difficult pill to swallow. Every day it was just like, gosh, why me? Like, why another challenge? Why this? Why can't anything go my way? And it was months and weeks of just like, sometimes I was like, is this a movie? Like, is this a joke? Like, why can't I just have one thing go my way? And it's exhausting, but once you get over it, like looking back now, I'm like, God, I'm so proud of myself. Like, I can't believe I went through that shit. Like, I can't believe it. But looking back now, I can kind of laugh about it. When you're going through it, it's the end of the world. It's just like the worst time. But really, like, once you get to the other side, just take all the positive things that came out of all the negative things, and you're gonna go far. Then is figuring out what you want to do next and what you don't want. I think through a lot of 2022, I really opened up my eyes to like what I wanted next in my career and what I wanted next in my life. I started to do just a lot of self-thinking of, do I want to work for a big corporation? Am I better in a startup? Am I better in a medium-sized company? Do I want to be in sales? Is that really what I want my whole career to be in? Do I want to do something different? Do I want to work in big teams? Do I want to work in small teams? Do I want to influence people? Do I not? Like, it was really a lot of self-reflection, and I really encourage you to take some time to do some self-reflections. And that meant a lot of journaling. It meant a lot of like sitting down with myself with a piece of paper. And even though I wanted to do it a lot of times, I would always find ways and excuses to not do it because I couldn't just sit with a piece of paper with my mind, because I would find out very quickly of like a lot of the things that I didn't want to do, but deep down I was like, no, this is your goal, this is your dream, this is what you want to do. But when I would sit down with that piece of paper, my mind would wander into a different world of goals and things that I truly did want. So it was about listening to those voices of like, hey, this isn't making me happy, why am I doing this? And so I really encourage you to just sit somewhere with a piece of paper and just let your mind kind of tell you what it is that, what it actually is that you want to do. Another lesson is, and I kind of mentioned it at the beginning, if you live in North America, if you're lucky enough to be in North America, you already won like 75% of life, in the sense that you already have access to the best schools, you have access to the best hospitals, you have access to the best products, companies, all of it, best wages. Like you have no idea how lucky you are if you've never left North America and you realize that the rest of the world is struggling, and no matter how hard they work, they'll never be able to achieve as much success as you can if you work hard in America. Because the American dream, in my opinion, is still very true, and you can achieve it. And I was reading something earlier this morning, but it's the easiest time in the world now to become a millionaire. Like, it's the easiest time with social media, with entrepreneurship, with literally the sky's the limit, but not for everyone. So just be very thankful and appreciative that you live in a part of the world where your dreams could come true. And the last one, this is a huge lesson for me, is learn, and I'm still learning, I'm not good at this, is learn how to control your emotions. Because your emotions will get the best of you and will screw you in whatever it is that you were doing that you could have been very successful at. If you let your emotions get the best of you, you will make big mistakes. This happened to me a lot in 2022, where in a meeting, when I was having a conversation with somebody, in an email, anything that you can think of, not just career-wise, just anything, when I would let my emotions get the best of me, I would make big mistakes that I would regret the next day. Why did I say that? Why did I email that? Why did I tell this person this? When if I would have just taken a step back and said, I'm gonna think about this. I'm going to come back to this when my fire of frustration is not so high. I'm going to talk to this person when my tears are not flying out of my face. And so I know that handling your emotions can be very difficult. And usually in the moment, I do have something in my brain that says, handle your emotions. You're not gonna be happy once this is over. You're gonna regret saying X or this or that. And normally, instead of listening to that voice and saying, yes, I'm going to pick up on this conversation tomorrow, or get out of this situation. Hey, I gotta go, let's talk tomorrow. Instead of doing that, there was another part of my brain that would say, YOLO, who cares? This is who you are, take it or leave it. And it's about learning how to control both of those voices. And that was a huge lesson that I learned in 2022, because I saw what happens when you don't take control of your emotions. So that's kind of it. I didn't want to make too long of a video, but I hope this is somewhat useful. Gosh, 2022, you really punched me in the face, like you kicked me down, but I'm so thankful for you, because 2023 is just not ready for what I have to bring now that I've been through hell and back. Stay up to date with everything that's happening to me and my family and just my life in 2023. So thanks again for following this journey.